Hi everyone, today we're on 9.3, day 5 notes. We're going to be using the product to sum and sum to product formulas. So before we get started, take a few moments to get familiar with these different formulas. And then also you might want to have a unit circle out and handy for you with what we're going to be doing today. So in number 1, we have cosine of 50 times cosine of 40 degrees. So this is a product, and we are going to use one of our product to sum formulas. So we want to find the formula that has cosine both first and second. So that would be that third formula right there. So we're just going to rewrite this, and I would rewrite this as 1/2 cosine A plus B would be 50 plus 40 plus cosine A minus B, 50 minus 40. And then we just simplify. So 1/2 cosine 90 degrees plus cosine 10 degrees. So this is where our unit circle comes in handy. Cosine at 90 degrees is going to be 0. We're looking at the x-coordinate. And then cosine of 10 degrees, we don't know that. That's not one of our points on our unit circle. So now if I just distribute that 1/2, I end up having 1/2 cosine 10 degrees. And that's our final answer. Okay, in number 2, we have sine 130 degrees times sine of 10 degrees. So we have another product, so we're going to use our product to sum formulas. And we have sine times sine, so we're going to be using that first formula. So we have 1/2 cosine, this time A minus B, so 130 degrees minus 10 degrees, minus cosine A plus B, so 130 plus 10. Then we go ahead and simplify. So 1/2 cosine of 120 degrees minus cosine of 140 degrees. Okay, now again, our unit circle comes into play here. So cosine of 120 degrees, that's going to give us 1/2. Then we have minus cosine 140 degrees. Okay, now we can go ahead and distribute our 1/2. So I end up having 1/4 minus 1/2 cosine 140 degrees. Number 3, we have another product. We have cosine pi over 8 times sine pi over 8. So this time, if you look at our second product to sum formula, that's sine of A times cosine A. So let's just go ahead and rewrite this to be sine pi over 8 cosine pi over 8. Since we're using multiplication, it's okay to rewrite it like that. So this then would become 1/2 sine, this is A minus B, so pi over 8 minus pi over 8, plus sine, now we're adding A and B, so pi over 8 plus pi over 8. Let's go ahead and simplify. Have 1/2 sine of 0 plus sine pi over 4. Okay, well, at sine of 0, we end up having 0. And at sine of pi over 4, the y-coordinate, that's going to be square root of 2 over 2. So once again, we just go ahead and distribute our 1/2. So we end up having 0, and then we would have root 2 over 4. So that's my final answer, square root of 2 over 4. Okay, and then number 4, now we have a difference. So we're going to be using the sum to product formulas. So cosine of 50 degrees minus cosine of 10 degrees. So that, if you look at our sum to product formulas, that's going to be the very last one. So here, we're going to rewrite this one as -2 sine. Then I have alpha plus beta divided by 2. So that would be 50 plus 10 divided by 2. And then we're multiplying that by sine alpha minus beta divided by 2. So 50 minus 10 divided by 2. Then simplify. Okay, so now we can use our unit circle again. So we would have negative 2 times, now sine of 30 degrees, that's going to give us 1/2. And then sine of 20 degrees, we don't know that, so we just leave that as sine of 20 degrees. So my final answer would end up being negative sine 20 degrees. Number 5, we have sine 35 degrees plus cosine 65 degrees. So we're going to be using one of our sum to product formulas. But if you look at those formulas, you'll notice that there is not one that shares both a sine and a cosine. So we are going to have to switch either the sine or the cosine. So we do know that cosine of theta is equal to sine 90 degrees minus theta. So we're going to have cosine 65 degrees is equal to sine 90 minus 65, which is then going to equal sine of 25 degrees. So we actually have sine 35 degrees plus sine 25 degrees. So now looking at our sum to product formulas, we can go ahead and use that first one. So I can rewrite this as a product being 2 sine 35 plus 25 divided by 2 times cosine 35 minus 25 divided by 2. Okay, so when we simplify, we've got 2 sine 30 degrees times cosine 5 degrees. Okay, so sine at 30 degrees is going to be 1/2, and then cosine 5 degrees remains 5 degrees. So when we simplify this one step further, we just end up with cosine 5 degrees. Number 6, we want to prove that the following is an identity. So if we take a look, I am going to work with the left-hand side first and see if I can get that to equal the right-hand side. So I am going to use our sum to product formulas. So I have sine of s plus sine of t over cosine s plus cosine t. So I'm going to rewrite each of those as a product. So if I work with the numerator, I have 2 sine s plus t divided by 2 times cosine s minus t divided by 2. And that's going to be divided by 2 cosine s plus t divided by 2. And then cosine s minus t divided by 2. Okay, now if we notice here, I have cosine s minus t divided by 2 and cosine s minus t divided by 2. So I can actually have those cancel out since we have we're using multiplication. And then my 2's in the front are going to cancel out. So what I am left with is just sine s plus t divided by 2 over cosine s plus t divided by 2. Okay, so what's in the parentheses is the same, and sine divided by cosine is tangent. So this simplifies to tangent of s plus t divided by 2, and that does in fact equal the right-hand side. Okay, number 7, we want to simplify cosine 7 theta plus cosine 5 theta plus cosine 3 theta plus cosine of theta. Okay, so I am going to group this in 2 different parts. And then I'm going to apply the sum to product formula for each of those. So there's going to be quite a bit of writing here, so make sure that you save some room or write a little bit smaller. So if I work with cosine 7 theta plus cosine 5 of theta, we're going to have 2 cosine 7 theta plus 5 theta divided by 2 times cosine 7 theta minus 5 theta divided by 2. Okay, then plus, and now let's work with the green, so cosine 3 theta plus cosine of theta. So that'll become 2 cosine 3 theta plus theta divided by 2 times cosine 3 theta minus theta divided by 2. Okay, then we can simplify. So I have 2 cosine, this would be 6 theta, cosine theta, plus 2 cosine 2 theta times cosine theta. Okay, now if we notice here, I have cosine theta and cosine theta, and I have a 2 and a 2. So I can factor out a 2 cosine theta, and what I'm left with would be cosine 6 theta plus cosine 2 theta. Okay, now if we just look on the inside, I have another sum, so I can use my sum to product formula once again. So I have 2 cosine theta times 2 cosine 6 theta plus 2 theta divided by 2 times cosine 6 theta minus 2 theta divided by 2. Simplify. 2 cosine theta, 2 cosine 4 theta times cosine 2 theta. So if I just simplify this, I can multiply the 2's together, and I would end up with 4 cosine theta, cosine 4 theta, and cosine 2 theta. And that would be our final answer.